Okay, example 1. What we're going to do is we're going to review markup and then also find the markup percentage. So on the side here, I have my calculator set up because today and tomorrow, excuse me, we will be using calculators. Okay, so just a reminder on what is a markup. A markup is the amount of money that is being added. Remember, it's added to the original price of an item in order for a business to make money. Just like Rihanna said, this is how we get in money, okay? All the businesses mark up their prices or else they will not make any money. And we went over this yesterday with this Nike example where it takes, literally, it's a little ridiculous. It costs Nike $33. I feel like you can't really see so clearly. There we go. It costs Nike $33 to make the shoes, but then they end up selling it for $190, which is crazy. Okay, that is like a 500% markup rate, or 400. It is a lot. Nike's a little ridiculous, and I said this yesterday, it's because they can do that, because they're a brand, and everyone buys Nike, so they can mark up the price however they want. So today's going to be a little different because we're finding the percent, okay? Which means instead of multiplying, we will actually be dividing. So example 1, it says Rick, an accountant, observes that his company purchased plastic bracelets at a cost of 30 cents and is currently selling them for 48 cents. What percentage is the markup? So first, very important, we always need to read what the question says and what it's asking specifically. And what it's asking is, what is the percent markup? How much did this price increase by percent? Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm moving over to my notes. And a few things that you need to always set up. You have your part, your percent, and the whole. Now, the first thing is the whole is always the original price. Now, this is really important because you have two numbers here. The original price of the item was 30 cents. Okay, so the whole is always the original price. Okay, now the part is the new price. Okay, so it tells me that it was 30 cents and now we're selling it for 48 cents. Which means when I find my percent, remember when I told you that the part and the percent are related to one another? If the part represents a certain unit, the percent is going to represent what the part is, just in a different unit. So if the part represents the new price in dollars, the percent is going to represent the new price. But obviously in percent. Now this part is really important because the number that you're going to find is not the answer. We're trying to find out the markup percentage, not the percentage of the new price. So please remember that when you find your answer. So we're now going to set this up, and we have the part equals the percent times the whole. Okay, so my part is 48 cents. Equals, we don't have the percent this time, so I'm actually going to put an X on the percent because I don't have it, multiplied by the whole, which is 0.30, right? 30 cents. So I'm just going to quickly rewrite this because, like I said, we always want the coefficient to be to the left of the variable. It just is always like this. My bad. The decimal should be kind of more at the bottom. So this is 30 cents divided by 0.48. So we want to find out what x is, right? We want to get 1x, which means we're going to go back to remember dividing by my coefficient. So we're going to divide by 30 hundredths, 0.30 on both sides. So 1x equals 48 hundredths divided by 30 hundredths. Okay, so this part is really important when we type this into our calculator, because I'm going to be typing this into my calculator. Remember, it's the numerator divided by the denominator. So my dividend divided by its divisor, 48 hundredths divided by 30 hundredths. And when you actually solve this, this should be a number that's going to be greater than 1. And the reason why it's greater than 1 is because 48 hundredths is greater than 30 hundredths. So if you had 30 hundredths divided by 30 hundredths, you would get 1. Now, if it's greater than this number, your number is going to be more than 1. So that's what you should expect. So now, when I type this into my calculator, I'm going to put 48 hundredths divided by 30 hundredths. And what you get is 1.6. Okay, so here we get 1.6, or 1 6 hundredths, equals 1x. But we want to convert this decimal into a percent. So I'm going to go ahead and put 1 6 tenths times 100 to find the percentage. Now, anytime you multiply it by 100, you're moving the decimal place twice. So if you have 1.6 or 1 6 tenths, I'm going to move it once, right? And then another time twice. And if you're moving it, that means you're going to add a 0. So that's actually going to equal 160%. Okay. Now, let's remember what I said earlier today. This percent represents the new price. 160%, right? Now, we actually are trying to find the markup, okay? So my whole, remember a long time ago we talked about that the whole is always at 100%. Okay, now your new price is 100% plus the markup, which is going to be actually 60%, which makes sense. The new price is 160% because it's added on to the whole, right? More money is being added to the whole. So my new price is going to represent, 100 plus however it got marked up by. So the last thing is, this is the biggest part. If you want to find the markup percentage, you need to find the difference between the new price and the original. So I'm going to do 160% minus 100%. And that's going to help me find the markup percentage, which would be 60% increase. So that would be my final answer, that the markup is 60% increase from the original price, which is 100%. So let's just quickly review, right? What I did was, I have the whole and I have the new price, okay? And my percent, because my part represents the new price, my percent is going to be the new price, okay? That's what it's going to represent. So I substituted into my equation, I divided my part with the whole, and what I got was 1.6. Now remember, 1.6 is a decimal. I need to turn it into a percent because that's what we're trying to find. So 1 6 tenths as a percent would be 160% because we're multiplying it by 100, which means the decimal will be moving twice to the right because it's getting bigger. Now your answer is not 160%. So remember that this is the biggest mistake you guys will make here. So you need to pay very close attention and make sure you do not make this mistake. 160% represents the new price. We want to know, well, okay, if the new price is 160% and the whole, the original price, is 100%, well, what would be the price, the percent of the markup, right? And so what we did was we found the difference between them, 160% minus 100%, which means the markup was a 60% increase, right? So here, the new price is represented by the whole, 100%, plus the markup, which was 60% markup, which means the final price represents 160%. And so here, we are going to type that in and put 60, and make sure that you actually put percent, because it's asking you for the percent markup.